revenue neutral. Yes, not only on goods but it should be levied on services also. So as a tax administration, you should appreciate why it has come. Correct? So the basic fundamental is why this 1% additional levy on the IGST by the exporting state. As I said you, Maharashtra, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, we garner around about 8,000 to 9,000. This year we will be garnering around about 9,000 crores on account of the central sales tax. Equal amount, 3 states, it's a major problem of 3 states. Gujarat, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. These 3 particular states contributes around about 40% of the total CST collection. So what we popularly call them as a net exporting states. So whenever the CST will go, CST will be abolished. Am I right? Must discuss while discussing the IGST model. Huh? That is a fundamental. Huh? CST has to go. The CST, once the CST goes, there will be a backlash of 9,000 crores to the state of exporter. So the proposal moved that how you are going to compensate this exporting state, because Maharashtra, the Gujarat, they have put all this money in developing the infrastructure. So once I say that my CST collection will go, and I will not be in a position to get anything out of the production that is being done in the state of Maharashtra or Gujarat, wherein we have put a lot of money in investing the infrastructure for the manufacturing activity. So the proposal came that how we are going to compensate the exporting states. So that's why this 1% additional levy can. But you see, if you have gone through the constitutional amendment bill, probably it will not last more than 2 years. So it has got some sunset clause saying that probably it will not be lasting more than 2 years. Anything that will be going to, so why this problem is there? If you appreciate real concern about the state, what is happening is really that I am not in a position to know how much tax that I am going to gain out of taxation of a service. Right? So as I discussed, what the state is supposed to gain when the GSTs come? It is nothing but the power to levy the tax on the services. Services, as you must be knowing, is a centralized levy. Today you can have only one registration and pay for all the across the services that are being done in the state of, or not state, in the India. It's not being bifurcated as how much of the services that are being created in Maharashtra consumed in Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, anything. So my fear is that I am not in a position to know the exact amount of service tax that I am supposed to collect when I will get the power to levy taxation on the services. So that particular insecurity has driven me to take some recourse, because the bottom line is money. State cannot run without money. So the bottom, if I am not very uncertain about what are my gains or what are my revenue gain after the introduction of GST, that's why it's only a safety measure. It's only a safety measure for, it will not last more than 2 years. So after 2 years, probably that 1% levy will go. That's I'm sure.
Sir, there's a restriction between goods and services created because of this. So how do you handle that? Maybe it just took 2 years, but then
very rightly. So that's what I said early in the beginning. So you can accept my proposal, start levying 1% on everything.
if there is a
not only on goods, not only on services, not only on now there are state there will be only a change as far as only with the consideration. That means branch transfer will not be levied for this 1%. So remove that also.
So if there is so much of worry on the collection, we are saying that after GST there will be a lot of people will be under GST coverage and the collection should improve. So is that point we are not considering in this collection this thing?
Probably what you are talking about is a tax base. Is that right?
Correct.
Now tax base won't increase because 10 lakh is already a turnover limit that is being set for GST. If you are doing under the goods, you are registered under VAT. If you are doing purely a service provider, you are registered with the service tax provider, service tax department. If both the limits are 10 lakh only. Now, day before yesterday only the proposal has come, now it should be 25 lakhs. So the tax base will erode to an extent because there are pros and cons in keeping the threshold limit at 10 lakh or 25 lakh. It all depends on your perspective in seeing whether to exempt the small dealers or not. So probably there will not be any increase as far as the tax base is concerned. So the revenue will not increase by expanding. Expansion of the tax base can happen only when you bring tax-free goods into the taxable land. But again, that's also is a very hard decision to bring whether this basic essential commodities into the taxation network. That's a hard decision.
So are we saying that the tax evasion which is happening currently, it is going to continue?
Like tax evasion has nothing to do with the GST. Tax evasion can either be in the culture.
There are a lot of cash transactions and all those things.
It is a cash. You can't help it. When GST cannot provide a solution for tax evasion. What solution it can have? A technology. So major use of a technology can provide. But I cannot force a B2C transaction. See, as far as B2B is concerned, everything gets recorded. What you are really missing is the link is the B2C.
Correct.
Where everybody, even the buyer and the purchaser, doesn't want to have a bill. Whenever you go in a shop and if he says, I'll levy at 10% or 12.5, your natural reaction as a human being is don't give me a bill. As if you are going to save that 12.5. It doesn't happen that way. But the natural reaction comes. So that really doesn't have, GST may not provide that much of solution to that B2C transaction. But we will try to figure it out how that can be done with the help of a technology. That probably will be done.
So my question is, over here we have been told that the introduction of GST will increase the GDP by 1.5% or 2%, thereby accretion of 1 lakh crores for the exchequer every year. Now, don't you think, you say there is no tax-based widening, but how does this 1 lakh extra crore come from?
There is a seamless flow of ITC. Second, exports will become more competitive. Today there is a lot of tax, that is what I said, goes in the forming at sale price. The seamless flow of the ITC, the compliance cost will be reduced, and that's why it will give a boost to the economy. That is how they have said. I am not an economist, so I cannot give a very precise answer to this. But that is what I have read. So what I can suggest you is that we'll just rush through the business process. I'll be there to answer each and every question. Don't worry about it. So exemption, right now there will be a 96 commodity that has been. This is covered. So exemptions, there will be a 96 commodities as far as the VAT is concerned. That decision was being taken. That will continue under VAT. The center list, as you know, excise exemptions are based on different type of business process or manufacturing process are there. So that will also get aligned with the VAT. Merit rate, there will be a merit rate of a lower rate, and HSM code for the GST rollout will be also introduced.
Can I have a question on merit rate?
Yeah.
Like it is proposed you have 3 or 4 different types of rates on goods. So is it possible that inverted duty structure may still persist because of if the essential commodity is being charged at a premium price, sorry, a lower rate, and the inputs are at a higher rate, being standard in nature.
Right.
So it might continue. And secondly, if we are having 3-4 different rates on goods, someone may say tomorrow the GST council calls, let's have 2 different rates for services also, essential service and general services. So are these possibilities there?
Yes. Yes. But do you suggest that all the services should be taxed at? Let's imagine, don't quote me, but can we tax it at 20 or 25%? So we can have. I'm not saying we are going to have. But we can have 2 types of tax rates. Well, what is the distinction between the goods and the services? And why the services should be taxed at such a low rate? As far as the goods are concerned, when we talked about the total taxation on any goods are concerned, is the excise duty plus VAT plus VAT on the excise duty, so the total comes to around about 26-27%. Plus Octroi if it is there. Hopefully now we can't count it. LPT has gone. So there should not be any distinction between this. Composition scheme will be there for the small dealers as is being existing under the value added tax also. Probably the limit will be increased Right now it is being under discussion of 75% plus 1% in totality, 0.5 plus 0.5. So that will be also revised. So probably that composition scheme will be also there. It's a very small issues, composition scheme. Interstate GST is a real.
Hello.
We have clearly at the end, sorry, but let him complete. That's my humble request. So that flow will be there. He said no.
On that particular topic you can always, right? So as far as the IGST is concerned, you have taken what is going to change, because this is how really what is going to be the very novel part of the GST. As I said, ki basic fundamentally why the GST is being introduced is to have a pan-India basis, pan-India market. Should the CST is only truncating that particular market, that's why the IGST, the seamless flow of the input tax credit has to go across the country. That leave apart that 1% distortion right now. But the principally when it started the discussion, is like IGST is nothing but a interstate, there should not be any distinction. So I want you to ask maximum question on this, because GST per se is a marriage between the goods and the services with the interchangeability of the ITC. IGST is going to be a very, very novel thing.
Sir,
Yes, please.
how the smaller trades will be benefited by the IGST?
Smaller trades,
Smaller trades,
smaller.
destination because states.
Consuming states you are talking about. We are see basically what is IGST. Whenever the exporting states, right now what is that? What is the distinction? You just compare with it what is happening today and how it is going to happen tomorrow. Today, if you export from Maharashtra to let's say a smaller state like Daman, okay, Union Territory, you will be charging a 2% of the CST. What happens to that CST? Nothing. It gets merged into the cost and it sells it further. Tomorrow, whenever you are going to sell it, you will charge CGST plus HGST on the supply of that, right? So that particular trader who has got the goods from you has got, for the time being, let's imagine tax rate at 10 and 10, it's 20%. That 20% will take an input tax credit. Today he is not in the position to take the input tax credit of that 2%. So that 2% goes and fits into the cost price. So this 20% you can take a credit of it. So that 20% will have a chronology of utilization of that input tax credit under the IGST. IGST, first of all, you will have got IGST liability, adjust revenue. If you have got CGST liability, adjust it. Whenever you sell it under the local, you can adjust it against your local liability also. So there will be a rule of utilization of the input tax credit also. So that's how it is going to help. So what really is happening? Fundamentally, if you sell it locally also, same rate of tax, same, you'll charge him CGST plus HGST, he can take a credit whenever he is going to sell in Maharashtra. You sell it in Daman, same thing is happening. So there is no distinction between your local sale as well as the interstate. So that is how it is being getting unified, right?
But if it's CGST, you cannot adjust against the SGST. What will be happen if I have only a small trader? I don't have trade outside my state. So, but I have import from outside state. So how can I adjust that CGST?
That's what I said. There will be a rule of utilization. If you have got a, now it's imagine that you are a pure importer and a reseller. Is that right? Importer in the sense of, okay, interested. So if you are a pure importer and a reseller, what is going to happen? You are a pure importer, so whatever the goods that you are going to bring into the state of your state will be bearing the IGST. That particular IGST, the credit will be available to you now. That particular credit you can avail whenever you are going to sell. Whenever you are going to sell, there will be two types of liability accruing. Whenever you are going to sell in the state, two types of liability will accrue. That one is the CGST, second is the HGST. That particular IGST credit you can adjust it against this. Only there will be a, that's what I said, there will be a chronology in what manner you can adjust that. That is all. So that will be a beneficial to that particular trader. So although he has paid some IGST into the government treasury, that doesn't become blocked. You can always have an input tax credit. Similarly, in the similar manner, what is available in the state also. In the state, you are doing the same way. As far as the value added tax is concerned, what you are doing, whenever you are purchasing, you have paid some value added tax. That input tax credit you are taking against the sales tax liability. In the similar manner, IGST is accrued to you. You can take that credit and adjust it against your tax liability toward the CGST and the HGST. Right? Okay.
In IGST, since it's a destination tax, the HGST rate will be on the destination state.
No, exporting state.
To the exporting state.
So destination means what? Destination means the tax has to flow to the destination. The tax liability is on the exporter. Exporter will collect it from the importer and pay it to the government treasury. Okay? So liability will be always on the seller. But what you mean by destination is that tax has to flow to the destination. Right now it is a exporting is only the originating state that is keeping. Whenever I am levying your CST, I am levying your CST and keeping it the state of export. Today I cannot keep that particular tax with the state of export, but it will flow to the consuming state. The tax has to flow to the consuming state. Right?
Sir, deemed exports that are sales against from which are currently exempted. So what would be the position under GST?
It will go. There is nothing called as a deemed export.
But then this IGST would be payable on that, right?
Huh?
IGST will be payable on that, right?
Yeah, but you see, the fundamental is that IGST is all selectable, no?
But then my
So why I should distinguish? You only said ki why there should be a distinction between sales and services, goods hai, branch transfer hai, why we should have. In a similar way, why I should be in a position, I should go into the nitty-gritties of saying ki whether it is a deemed export, whether that form is there, whether it falls under the first limb or a second limb, why I should go into that nitty-gritties. So the fundamental, if you keep the thing, want to keep the thing simple for a taxpayer, each and every sale should be taxable. Don't give any exemption. You start with that bottom line, then you start making the things complicated. Right? You always start with a very simple line, and then you keep on complementing it. So there is nothing called as a deemed export.
my export will get possible.
Why?
But
You are going to get the refunds. You will get the refunds.
another problem is that my working capital get dropped now.
Yeah, but you can always get the refund immediately in that particular month as far as the exports are concerned. For the exports, whatever the refund procedure that we are envisaged, that whenever the export is done, in that particular month only you can claim the refund. No, matter of time. See, okay, your practical experience may be different, but theoretically I can explain you that as far as. See, practically why it is taking time? Because whenever the money is to go outside the state exchequer, I should be sure that first of all I have received that money. See why it is getting delayed? Because I am not sure whether whatever the refund that you are giving, what do you mean by a refund? That you have paid it to somebody. Whether that somebody has paid it to me, that thing I will be required to ensure at least. So that ensuring that particular, whether that money is really received into the government treasury, that is taking time. And the solution is only the technology. If I am in a position that now this particular your cross-checking of purchase and sales are taking place, the J1 and J2, you must be popular words. So naturally that will become faster.
One question. Let us take an example of say product watch, for example, say, and the tax rate is say 20% in a GST scenario, where tax rate means IGST rate. Manufacturing state in Maharashtra, I am dispatching it to 5 state or rather 3 state A, B, C. In your example, we will pay tax in Maharashtra for the state A, B, C separately if these goods are going there. Now, suppose A and C has preferential rate, say 18%, 16%, and B is 20%. So, does it mean that in revised scenario, GST scenario, while dispatching, I have to maintain tax rate for all the 30 states sitting in Maharashtra while dispatching the goods in those states?
No, if you are an exporter from the state of Maharashtra, what will be the rate of IGST is the rate of CGST and SGST that is prevailing in the state of Maharashtra. Whatever the importing state, what is the credit that is being available is equal to, let's say, 10% plus 10%, 20%. If their tax rate is 22%, there will be additional liability of 2% there. If you have, if the tax rate there in that particular state is 18%, you will get the refund of 2%. That is how. I mean, refund or adjust, you can adjust 20%. Okay, now how this particular IGST is going to take place? Upload, this is how the business process that is being envisaged right now. Okay, that is, I cannot say it is being finalized. There will be uploading of the sales statement, preparation of auto drafted. So whenever we are going to upload that particular sales statement, from your sales statement, there will be a auto drafting of the purchase statement from your sales statement, right? Your sale will be somebody's purchase, isn't it? So that will be a auto drafting of that purchase statement. There will be a mutual reconciliation between the supplier before the meaning if you have shown a sale to a supplier, then naturally it will fit into his purchase register, right? But if you have shown, you have not shown a supplier and he has made up purchases, then he will call you saying कि भाई मैंने तो आपसे खरीदी किया लेकिन आपने सेल में दिखाया नहीं है, then naturally there will be some